Recently, I had an experience with credit card fraud that caused so much unnecessary stress and anxiety. I spent hours on the phone and in chats with my credit card company. I had to get two different cards before the fraud stopped, and I was so worried about what was going to happen to my money in my bank account. And I sometimes have the fear that it's going to happen again, right? And that's why I'm so excited to introduce You Are the Healer's newest sponsor, Aura, an app for protecting online data and personal information. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it protects me from hackers who could use this information to help them access things like my social media accounts, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. Protecting yourself and your personal information is a form of self-care. I swear. Go to my sponsor, aura.com/healer to get a 14-day free trial and have peace of mind knowing your information is safe. Again, that's Aura, AURA.com/healer for your 2-week free trial. You Are the Healer is sponsored by BetterHelp. Therapy is mandatory because there's absolutely nothing wrong with seeking help. I think every person who walks this earth needs therapy, honestly. I'm stoked to be connected with BetterHelp to offer affordable and accessible therapy resources. The link is in my show notes, and you can also go to betterhelp.com/healer. That's better, HELP.com/healer. Now let's get into this episode. Hi, healers! Welcome back to You Are the Healer. We are in a new season. This season is called The Borrowed Mind, and it is full of complete guest episodes where I pick other people's brains about different healing topics, values. We go into storytelling. And I'm so excited for this season because I've been yapping at you guys for over 2 years now. And I'm really excited to talk to some professionals in various backgrounds of different healing topics and just see what comes up. It has been so fruitful talking to people and recording these guest episodes. The first guest of our Borrowed Mind season, her name is Deborah Weed. I'm so excited for you guys to hear this episode. A little bit about Deborah is she is the founder of the Self-Worth Initiative, and her mission there is to ignite self-worth through storytelling. Now, she's written multiple books, she's directed musicals, and right now she's working on Paisley the Musical, which is all about what it means to take your power back. And we talk about a lot of her messages in this episode. We talk about we have heart-centered conversations. We get vulnerable and we talk about hopelessness. And this episode contains incredibly powerful truths that literally changed my life. And I'm so excited for you guys to listen to this episode. And before I give it all away, let's get into the episode and let's welcome Deborah onto You Are the Healer. Oh my gosh. Well, Deborah, welcome so much to You Are the Healer. I'm so thankful that you reached out and that you are willing to be a guest on the show.
Sydney, I'm so excited to be here. I think what you're doing is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. So let's just get into it. For the people who aren't familiar with you and your story, just tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you came to be who you are now.
Absolutely. I'm the founder of the Self-Worth Initiative. And the reason that I am the founder is because for a long time, I did not have self-worth.
Yeah.
When I was a little kid, I was so sensitive and so sweet and such an empath. So when I grew up a little bit older, I was like, I'll show you. I'll become the director of development for Citibank, 19 branches, and I'll work on a $26 million pavilion with Disney and Universal consultants.
Wow.
And when I was the director of development for Citibank, I never smiled.
Yeah, that's something I'm curious about is, you seem like this creative, now I know, like sensitive, really empathetic person. What was it like working in such a corporate, fast-paced role?
And you know what? There was part of it that was exciting, but here's the thing. Us empaths, and for anybody who's listening and is an empath, we're trying to, we feel everything. So in a corporate world, everybody is wearing the suit. And what I mean by the suit in this instance is they're not really being themselves. They're not being authentic. They're not heart first. It's brain first. So it's two different languages. They're speaking think, think, think. And I'm speaking heart, heart, heart. Although I was very good at what I did. Thank you. I have the gift of being both being able to use my intelligence and be creative, both left brain and right brain. But as far as what I was meant to do in the world, I got a 2x4 on the head. And then what happened next was pretty scary.
Yeah. So tell us what happened next.
Well, what happened next is I was misdiagnosed for 3 years. I was in bed in agony, the kind of pain that one would have when they were giving birth to a baby. It was that
Wow.
bad. And I was
Wow.
very, very weak. And, you know, one of the things, I'm not very good at lying. I'm one of those
Me
people.
neither.
I'm one of those people you can look at my face and it's like, yep, no, it's
Yeah.
too, it's like written all over. I'm the one that,
Yes.
or whatever it might be. And so to have my integrity questioned, because what happened is I went
Mm.
from doctor to doctor to doctor, and they were all giving me a different diagnosis.
Mm.
So I'm starting to question my own integrity and
Mm.
the people around me who love me. I thought I had a wonderful family, but everybody ran for the hills because
Mm.
they started to truly believe if no two doctor is coming up with the same thing, then you are either lying, making it up, something
Wow.
is wrong with you. So I also had the mental anguish, and I want to use the word anguish
Mhm.
of not feeling heard or understood. Now, this is going to come into play later as our conversation goes on. But at the
Yeah.
time, between the physical pain, between feeling shame, between the anguish, I definitely wanted to check out of life. I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, yeah, and I appreciate you so much sharing that because I think so many people have similar frustrations and experiences with healthcare system. And even I know myself, I'm a relatively healthy human, but I went down a diagnosis of IBS and migraines, and doctor after doctor, not only was it inconsistent, but nothing was helpful either. And so I can only imagine what it must have been like to not have clear answers, not know what's going on, going from working very hard to your life kind of stopping you in your tracks. And then everybody in your life being like, oh, you must be the thing that's wrong. That is a shame recipe right there. Like, geez.
The way you said that, you might wait. Let's really put an exclamation. You must be the thing wrong. Ooh, I got
Yeah.
goosebumps.
Me too.
Whoa, you must
Yeah.
okay, we need to write that one down because the thing is that there are so many people right now who might be going through long-term COVID or, I've had other health challenges and they're always in the mystery realm.
Yeah.
And so for those people out there, definitely how you can feel, you
Hmm.
are already fighting for your life,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then to be made to be questioned your integrity after a while, at least for me, it took a while, but everybody was like, oh, but you look good, oh, but and it's like,
Mm.
I mean, the cursed but you look good, and it's like,
Right.
so my words mean nothing, you're
Hmm.
overriding what I'm saying instead of really listening to me from heart to heart. So I learned over time
Hmm.
that self-worth and self-esteem are two different things.
Ooh, okay. Could you say more about that?
Yes, self-esteem is where I'm doing something great. You're doing something great. It's like, oh man, Sydney, that podcast you did, it was amazing. And then
Hmm.
you're gonna have to do it over and over and over and over again to get that self-esteem. And if things are going great in your life and somebody says, how's your self-esteem? And you're like, oh, fabulous, absolutely
Hmm.
fabulous. Until you can't do anything anymore.
Mm. Yeah.
And then what self-worth is I claim my self-worth. I say how much, and I'm the one. Nobody else can determine myself. See, the thing is in our society especially, we look to everybody else to tell us who we are.
Hmm.
Self-worth is, as they say, an inside job, but even deeper than that. It's something that we're not taught. We don't understand. We get it confused with self-esteem. And so when
Hmm.
things go really bad, sometimes people don't have a leg to stand on. And it can be, I think that's worse than even the physical pain.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's such a good point too. And I want to touch base again on what you were saying about how because you looked fine, people were like, "Oh, you don't seem like you're sick." And that's just such a common thing when it comes to like mental health struggles that I see like all the time. I work as a psych nurse, so I work with people who are struggling in pain. You just can't see it. And so it's like because other people can't visualize it, they have a hard time validating it, understanding it, even believing you, which is so painful layer on top of what you're already going through.
It's the worst. Is absolutely positively the worst. And I know that there's probably so many people out there, like I said, right now, who are going through that same kind of thing
Mhm.
where it's not to be believed. I don't know. There's something really odd about that.
Yeah, it's a interesting, very unique experience. So what would you say to those people who are going through something similar that are, struggling without the like the evidence to other people?
Well, okay, follow track with me, okay, because it's gonna be a little interesting, I think.
Mhm.
What the answer's coming up now is that, like, when you don't have this self-worth and everybody's questioning your integrity, I think for me, I started to tell myself, I know what life looks like. So
Mm.
what why bother? It's always
Mm.
excruciating. It's never gonna get better.
Mhm.
Where you are, whatever you're swimming in is all you can see.
Yeah.
And, I truly felt, and many times in my life, this isn't just once, but
Mhm.
many times in my life, I felt like, well, I know what's there, so why even bother? And I'm
Mhm.
here to say, hand on heart, that
Mhm.
now what's happening in my life is I'm seeing things that are crisis worthy and excruciating. And then I'm also seeing things that are the most amazing miracles, and I'm
Mm.
having, like, even in the midst of the pain that I'm in now, I'm also seeing wonder and possibilities. And I have a spiritual, we all have whoever we have. I have a spiritual person who I'm like, her name is Robin, and I'm like, why am I seeing these two things? And she goes, I think now what's happening for you is you're seeing where you were and where you're
Mm.
going. So one of the things that I really want to emphasize is that you don't know. It
Mm.
is hanging out. Even if somebody has to, and people, friends have, pull you up and just like say you're not going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's so inspiring and so real because so many people struggle with that experience, especially when you're in that chronic pain or that chronic stress and anguish. I really like that word because I feel like it exemplifies exactly how it feels when you're truly struggling. And like you said, when you're in the water, that's all you can see. It's like it's hard. I know I've had very similar experiences where when I'm in the midst of struggling, I look around and I'm like, the only thing that my life has ever been is struggle, which is so not true. But it's what our brains like. I don't know what type of phenomenon it is, but it's like what our brains do when we're struggling to like only confirm how we feel is how it is forever. And that's so not true.
Yeah, and that's such a good point. And I think one of the reasons why, like when we're looking at all those things and feeling like we're drowning and we feel like we're never going to be out of it, it's because we're trying to solve a problem.
Mm.
And one another thing that I have found for myself is that thinking is stagnant.
Mm.
You know how everybody says think positive, think positive, think positive? Well, when you're in
Mhm.
crisis, it makes you feel really bad when people say think positive.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Your chemicals, there's nothing moving in your body. It's
Mhm.
just like, and you're thinking and you're trying to solve the problem, solve the problem, solve the problem,
Mhm.
solve the problem. Guess what you're concentrating on?
Problem. Yeah.
So, and this is what we do in this culture. This is what we're taught to do, get out of the problem, get out of that situation. So we're concentrating on exactly what we don't want to have happen, the problem.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a question right now. Would you believe me if I told you I'm in tremendous chronic pain right as we're sitting here?
Not at all.
Okay, I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. And it's I mean, it's going back to that thing of like you have no idea what someone has going on, when it's whether it's mental, physical, whatever it is, like I would have no idea chatting with you that that's something that you have going on in your life.
And so, what is it about our culture that overrides what I say?
Mm.
I'm saying something, I'm saying my truth.
Mhm.
I don't have to prove it to you. I don't have to lie there and start crying to
Yeah.
prove to you that that's true for me.
Mhm.
So most people would override what I'm saying and say, no, it's not true. It can't be that bad. Can't be that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's such a strong correlation between chronic pain and chronic illness and like mental health suffering, feeling that hopelessness and that despair. So I want to continue back on, chronologically your journey. So you went from working to being stopped in your tracks, misdiagnosed. What happens next?
So what happens next after a lot of, you know, just a shattering of my family of origin, my family of marriage, everything. Then I finally go to a doctor after 3 long years.
Jeez.
Where I felt like I had nothing. And he tells me that I had a tumor the size of a grapefruit behind my uterus, pressing on my spinal cord. I had been
Wow.
hemorrhaging. My iron was between a 3 and a 6, depending on what day you take it, which he said I should have been dead, which I had been telling everybody I'm dying, and they thought I was a hypochondriac, and I wasn't.
Wow.
I
Wow.
was dying. I was dying.
Yeah.
And, when I had nobody and I had the pain and I had everything happening, it was actually a penny that saved my life.
Okay, I'm gonna put a pin in this because I just Googled normal iron levels. And I'm like,
I know.
as a nurse, I know that the levels that you said were low, but women's normal iron levels are 50 to 170. So I mean, that is really magnifies what you were going through. So wow. Wow.
Yeah. You told me that I should be dead. But you know what? You know what's really interesting, Sydney? And I get this
Mm,
one. Maybe you can help us as a community with this one.
yeah.
Even to this day, the people that were around me don't believe it. Even though I had a hysterectomy, even though the doctor said it, even though I went through it, it's almost as if when you make a decision, when those people around you make a decision of what's so, they can't get off that truth. And
Right.
that hurts.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people have a hard time admitting that they're wrong or changing their mind, because it's humbling and it requires your ego to step aside, and a lot of people don't
What?
want to
And
deal with
ego
that.
to step aside. Who's gonna let that happen?
Right? No, I mean, it feels life-threatening to your ego. You're like, "No, I would never admit that I'm wrong or that, there's other options besides what I know to be true." It's very humbling. So, it's very painful experience when people are so convinced in their way. And something that a message that's coming up for me a lot lately is like people are gonna think whatever they're gonna think. And I don't know if you're familiar with Mel Robbins.
Let them, let
Yes,
them.
I'm reading that book right now and I'm like, let them not believe you, you know? And it's like, then let me know that my experience is valid no matter what other people say.
Right, right. But
Yeah.
and I've had this kind of thing happen to me 3 times in my life. For a
Mm,
while, I was like, "What the heck is going on?" But now I
yeah.
know the answer. I think I know the answer.
And
I am so passionate about reaching out and putting my arms around somebody who's going through something.
mm,
I am so passionate. I'm creating a whole musical because
yeah.
of experience, and I've done a lot of musicals with the Self-Worth Initiative for kids and families, tremendously successful in New York and in Miami. But man,
Great.
I'm swinging for with the trees or whatever
Yeah,
that's
whatever
called.
the saying is.
Whatever the thing is. I'm
Yeah.
swinging for something. So
Yeah. Yeah. Like for the moon, basically.
for the
There's
moon.
no there's no limit.
There's no because you know what? I think once you've been knocked down so many times, and I have, like, if
Mhm.
anybody looked at me, they'd think, "Oh, she's got it all together," because
Mm,
of, evidence otherwise. But if anybody ever, and one day maybe I will share my whole story and blow people away, and they'll be go, "Wow, I just had no idea."
mhm.
Because that's something else. Sometime and oh man, I really want to go here. Sometimes when we appear happy, or we are happy, we're happy in that moment, we are feeling that. Like I said, people will disregard your
Mm,
history or what you're saying. And so, our voice has to matter? It has to matter.
mhm. Yeah, absolutely. So, going back to the penny,
Yes.
how does that play a role in this?
I was reading, I don't even remember exactly because this incarnation was 30 years ago, so it was a while ago. But what I found out was there was a penny that could be worthless, that was worth 250,000 at the time, but now worth $1 million.
Wow.
And it blew my mind because it was like, well, if a penny could be worth that much and it's practically worthless and nobody would pick it up if they walk by it, or maybe they would because they think it's a lucky penny, like progressive again, what am I worth? And my
Mm,
creativity, I had always done shows ever since I was 16. I was creating shows and all kinds of stuff. So in bed, it was like, you know how you have that, if I ever get out of this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And so if I ever get out of bed, this is what I'm going to do is I wrote a book, a children's book called The Luckiest Penny. Actually is for eight, whether you're 3 or 103, it still works.
Yeah.
And then create a musical that and decided totally shifted my attention towards from corporate and getting
Mm.
ahead there to going back to what probably more my roots, the
Yeah.
founding self-worth initiative, to use my creativity, because like if you try to tell a 6-year-old that they're worth a lot, how are they gonna it's gonna be like, "Ugh, please, I gotta
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
play with the kids."
Right.
But if you talk about The Luckiest Penny and you have songs and you
Mhm.
original, they totally get the idea of, "Oh," or at least the way that I created it, they did.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's such a inspiring like testimony to when you are at such a low point, there is still so much value in that moment. And even when you're struggling with feeling worthless or whatever comes up for whoever is listening, like you can use those painful emotions, that painful experience, and create something that is it's just so cool. I have goosebumps. Like it's a legacy, and I'm just thinking about like children hearing stories and really learning at a young age that their worth is inherent and that they are valuable. Why do you think that's such an important message to spread?
Because we really truly believe that self-esteem is the key.
Mm.
And as soon as you don't have the thing, look at all the influencers. They have everything. They have all
Mhm.
the money in the world. They got I mean, they got the whole, they got the whole thing going on and they commit suicide, just like
Yeah.
anybody random person out there. Why?
Mhm.
Because it's like, I got to get more followers. I got to get more this. I got to do this. And it's like that self-esteem. They think they get it confused with self-worth and they think that
Mhm.
they feel like a failure and it
Yeah.
hurts. It
Mhm.
hurts really bad.
Yeah.
I have in the midst of all the things that have happened, and like I said, three health things every 10 years that were mystery or off the charts or something different that's not understood.
Mhm.
Why did I have that? Why? To this day, right now, I mean, at the time, and I'm going to be honest with you, every time I was done, okay, and
Yeah.
every time I had somebody that said that I was worth it, and they hung on to me. So,
Mm.
and yet other times I didn't have, the first time I didn't have anybody, nobody. I don't even, be honest with you, I don't even know how I made. Well, I had I actually gave my father a suicide note because I was like, I can't do this anymore. But for the
Yeah.
grace of God, I'm still here, and that's why I am going to, nothing scares me anymore.
Mhm.
Or I
Yeah.
should that's not true. Everything's everything scares me, but the joy or the wonder is enough to walk towards.
Yeah, and it to me, what I'm getting from you is like you've been through so much that even if you're scared of something, like you're not gonna let it shake you. You're not gonna let it rattle you. You've been to the trenches and back enough times to know that the future and the joy and the abundance of life is always going to be worth it, even when you're struggling with something.
And, I wanna also say something else really, really important, especially
Yeah.
with what you do,
Mhm.
especially with what you do. Love can keep a person here.
Yeah.
Not the kind of love everybody thinks of. It's not the kind of love of like, sometimes it's just holding somebody's hand, staying quiet,
Mhm.
and just letting them know that they're worth it.
Yeah.
I had read one time, it's one of the most, like, powerful things for me, and I know that I'll probably do another story, musical, something, based on this,
Yeah.
and I can't remember who it is, so, oh, I'm so sorry, but there was a doctor who worked in a psychiatric unit,
Mhm.
and there was one woman who would lie on the floor and, like, all the people would just walk by her. They would absolutely walk
Mm.
by. The residents would walk by her, the doctors would walk by her, and she'd be wailing or whatever she would be. But whoever it was actually got on the ground and lied down with her.
Mm.
And guess what happened? She started to recover.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's such a powerful testament because there's so much therapeutic value in even just shared silence, like not even saying a word to someone, but just sitting with them and laying
Yeah.
with them, like
Yeah.
in this instance. And I think a lot of times, especially going back to what you're saying about like what I and the image in my head is like a hamster wheel of like consumerism, of like self-esteem. The more material items I have, the happier I'll be. When we boil it down to things, like you said, love can really cure and heal and has so I think it's the strongest force in the universe, truly. And I think a lot of times our society overcomplicates it because we're trying to sell things. But like if you boil it down to just sitting with somebody, like you said, holding their hand, letting them know like, hey, it's going to be okay. You are worth it. That changes people's lives. And it's so far away from what we're like doing or trying to do to feel like we're good enough. And I think it's like we need to take like 15 steps back and just go back to the simple things of like human connection and love.
You're so right. And I'm actually starting to cry right now because when I had the tumor, nobody was there, and I was absolutely sure that would be the way it would be for the rest of my life. I really imprinted that. The bravado, the ego in me was like, I'll never, people just aren't there. And as I shared with you before we started, love of
Mm-hmm.
my life just passed away. I guess it was, maybe 2 weeks ago, almost
Wow.
today. And people are coming
Mm,
in droves, strangers, people that I've loved, people that I knew 20, 30 years ago, people that I had issues with. I mean, it's like an army. So we're going from nothingness and feeling
mhm.
like I was nothing to literally an army of people to just
Wow.
say that they love me. And it's like and so surprising because when people look at me, they're like, "But Deborah, you were so sensitive for so long and you were crying." The last 5 years, my father, who is my everything, passed.
Mm,
My husband, who is my everything, passed. And I
mhm,
have been, like a health surrogate, really working, like thing after thing after thing happened. My own health went down. My friends pulled me out of the trenches. I mean, just so much has happened. And
mhm,
right now we're like, but why are you smiling, kinda?
mm,
Why are you so in joy, kinda? Shouldn't you
mhm,
be floor over there because that man that you loved so much is no longer there? And the
mhm,
answer is yes, I will. Yes, my heart is broken, but
mhm,
my soul has been restored.
mm.
No
Yeah,
doubt.
wow, that is so powerful. And I'm just thinking about what it would be like to go from having that health scare and not having somebody there and feeling so scared and alone to this, I mean, 360 complete opposite experience of having people come out from the woodwork to support you and love on you. I mean, that I can only imagine how like what is that experience like for you?
Well, right now, as we're talking, I have I have goose
Same. It's
literally
like
from the top
painful.
of my head, bottom of my toes. I mean, so that's
Yeah.
number 1. Number 2, I never expected it and never wanted to expect it. Number 3, I think one of the things that I don't wanna say it's a mantra, but I would always say to myself, I would always say to God or whatever you wanna believe, I'd always say, "But I'm trying to do good. I don't understand." That was kind of the mantra.
Mhm.
I'm trying to do good. I don't understand. Why am I on the sidelines? Why did this happen 3 times? Why, have I been family members have looked at me and gone, "God, what's wrong with her?" And like I said, some of them still believe that.
Yeah.
So why? And I guess, I remember one time coming to a friend of mine and I said, and her name is Vivian, like a dear, dear friend. And I'm like, Vivian, I don't get it. I just wanted to be like an angel. I just wanted to help. I mean,
Mhm.
sincerely, why are all these karma bad things happening? And she goes, so you said you wanted to be an angel? I said, yeah. She said, well, do you think that angels need to know what people go through?
Mm.
I said, yeah. She goes, well, then you're right on course.
That, like, rattled my world hearing that. Oh my gosh, that's very a similar concept as, like, the wounded healer archetype of the people who have been so wounded and hurt and gone through the trenches are the people that are the most qualified to help other people because they have that experience and they know what it's like.
Yeah. So maybe at the end of my life, I'll be exactly, oh gosh, this is going to start to choke me up. I'll be exactly what I wanted to be at the end of the
Mm,
day. And maybe my dreams will become true. with the, the things that I'm working creatively on now because, I could tell it's kind of ironic. I can tell some people are like, oh, well, it's like an ego thing or you're doing it for to show. Because in the beginning, I was. In the beginning, I was in the self-esteem arena.
Yep. Yep.
Love me because I can do this.
Yep.
Not even a demo.
Yeah.
But now it's not for that. It's kind of like, I understand and I'm going to do everything that I possibly can. I'm working on a musical
Mhm.
to the scale of Wicked with no money and all heart.
Wow. Wow.
And it's really a powerful story. I'm really excited about it, but it's essentially about giving one's power away and how to reclaim it.
Mhm.
Like, I played the music. I'm starting out with a, 5 songs as the conceptual album. I played it for some very powerful women who know,
Mhm.
me pretty well, and
Mhm.
at the first song, they started to cry.
Shut up. I can't wait to watch it and experience it after talking with you. I just like the energy that you create from, I can imagine is so powerful. So, what is the premise of the musical that you're creating?
Well, on the second medical thing, I realized, it seems like every time I have something, then I come up with something. That time I needed a metaphor of a thing or a protagonist who gives their power away, something very obvious. So for me, it was a porcupine.
Mhm.
And the reason why is because porcupines are supposed to put their quills up to protect themselves. It's very
Mhm.
visual, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
But in my world, I came up with Paisley, and
Mhm.
Paisley is a porcupine who dreams of being in the fashion world. Like, I see
Mhm.
her when she was a porcupine, she would take flowers and maybe put them on her quills, and she was just like, "Oh, this is so lovely, this is a wonderful world, and everything's beautiful."
Mhm.
But she ends up, because of circumstances, in the backbiting animal fashion world. And in
Mhm.
the fashion world, she needs to use those quills that are supposed to protect her as pins to
Mm.
pin up couture over the top designs for Zavana, a
Yeah.
couture designer. So she's taking pieces of herself for
Mm.
somebody else. And she's also a porcupine pleaser for all the different animal models who all have body positivity issues and
Mm.
like everything that us it's like somebody told me this. They said it's kind of like a feminine Lion King. I'm like, you're right. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it's essentially, it really goes back to that whole so she gives away her quills until she's down to the last one. And then it's
Mm.
what happens with that. So what I
Mm.
want to do is take people on a ride, an experiential ride of giving one's power away, a little piece of yourself at a time, and why we do it and how it
Mhm.
feels to be abandoned and the whole journey and then
Yeah.
how we reclaim it. And I just, anytime I do a show, it doesn't even matter. I don't watch the stage. I
Mm.
watch the people.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
for how they're experiencing it.
I'm hoping my dream is that I look around and I see people laugh. I see
Mhm.
people cry. See people talking about it. I see people keep on singing the songs like Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And
Yeah.
that instills in them uh, a little bit of the DNA of me
Mm.
so that when, or anybody for that matter, who has gone through something and understands profoundly what courage it takes to keep on walking, even when you can't even take another step or you don't feel like
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what a powerful story. And I want to like circle back to your dream already came true because when you played the music for people, they did cry. So you're already having that effect like in the creating stage of what you're doing, which is, I mean, that's awesome. I can only imagine when everything is full production, what the effects are going to be like.
yeah. My Wicked is my personal favorite. Well, of course,
Yeah.
The Wizard of Oz, of
Yeah.
course. That's the
Yeah.
all-time. But Wicked is like, oh my gosh. So I'm going for
Yeah.
that. That's where
Yeah.
I'm going, the eye candy and the magical realism. But
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that people like literally walk out of there and go, wow. And the other thing is, as I talk to people, such as yourself, I can see in other people's eyes. It's almost like, some people have a vision board. I've got vision people.
So
I say
what
something,
does that mean for you? Vision people.
that means that just kidding. I just coined something right here, right
TM.
now.
Trademark.
Right, right, right. Um, it's like I say something and I can see that it becomes real in that person. So it's like
Yeah.
instead of a board, it's like a literal human being walking around going, "Hey, I just heard of somebody who's doing this thing and I kind of like it." But, I do feel like by getting the train going,
Mhm.
and when the conceptual album comes out, I won't have to say a thing. People will listen to the music and they'll tell me.
So, I wanna talk a little bit about how creativity can really heal and how you can put everything that you go through into creating something and kind of your experience in that.
Yeah, and really hear me, anybody that's out there listening from a standpoint, if you really are drowning, I do get it, and this is gonna sound impossible to a certain extent, but just try to hear me because I've done this 3 times.
Mhm.
Um, when we are suffering, when we go through these things, it's like a big boulder. It's like this heaviness inside your body. It's so you can't take another step. You feel like, look, I don't trust people anymore. I don't trust anything. She's getting the miracles. That person's able to do it. Look at me. Like I have
Mhm.
proof that these things are happening and they hurt.
Mhm.
But creativity is like inspiration from above.
Mhm.
And it's something that's not it's not co think about it, it's not really coming from your body, it really isn't. It comes from here, I
Huh.
don't even know where, somewhere up there and comes down through us and then out. It's almost like a clearing. It's almost
Yes.
like this kind of emotion. So let's say that you've got that boulder or that big bowling balls. You're full of bowling balls.
Mhm.
And it's excruciating. You can't do it. It doesn't mean that it's going to be fast. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen overnight. And then there's the other issue, if we had another hour, I would talk to you all about, disappointment and things that can happen that can stop you cold on creativity. Or so many people say I'm not creative. But yeah, go ahead, say I'm not creative. You're not. You're inspired by something
Mm.
else that's flowing through. And
Mm.
that's what your gift and that's who you were meant to be. And sometimes you're put on the sidelines because you're off track. I think
Mhm.
that's what happened with me. I mean,
Yeah.
I could have been the best. You could have seen me, I probably would have been the top of the top of the top for,
Mhm.
Disney or whatever. And that would have been cool. But yeah, that would have been really cool. But the thing is a pavilion, just so you know, it's like it's a small world after all.
Okay, yeah,
It's a
yeah,
ride. That's
yeah.
why I said Disney.
Okay.
So I'm sure I would have been the tops, but would I be in the angel category? The
Mm.
angel I wanna be? Would I
Mm.
be, where I'm creating something that may turn into something that's just, like, unbelievable, where
Mhm.
I can even help more people than I ever imagined? And
Mhm.
even if it's just a conversation, like you said, even if I get
Yeah.
nowhere, the excitement flowing through me of being authentically me more than I ever have, and I'm a
Yeah.
grandma. It's a long time. It wasn't easy. Still fighting it every once in a while. I'm not gonna say that, "Hey, I'm healed. Alright, so I'm done."
Yeah,
No.
there's, like, no end point.
Another I really also wanna share this because this is
Mhm.
so important to me. I looked up healed. Healed
Mhm.
means whole.
Mm.
About it. I never knew that. When
Yeah,
you
me
think
neither.
say healed means positive,
Mm.
it didn't say healed means you have a smile on your face and you're happy all the time. That's
Mhm.
not what it said. It
Mhm.
said whole.
Wow.
If that's true, then biggest thing that I can do or any of us can do to be healed is to accept the anger, rage, frustration, shame, happiness, wonder, because we can be all things simultaneously. And I'm walking, talking proof of that right now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that is so well said. I like to use the analogy of a disco ball. Like, we are made up of all of these little fragments of our experience, whether that's anger, shame, joy, our past experiences, our dreams for the future. And it's like all of these things can be true, and it's so marvelous when it's all together. And I loved that you looked into the definition of healed because I haven't heard of this before. Feeling whole, that almost brings me back to what we, spent the beginning of the episode talking about was that self-worth, and it's like when you reclaim your self-worth, which is always there, it's always true. There's nothing you can do to be any less worthy than how you are, just because you are human, you are alive, you are full of love, you are always going to be worthy. Then you are healed, then you are whole. So it's like I'm just thinking of like the rat race, how we always strive to like improve and be better and like just grow when if we're healed, we're whole, which is what we already are.
And yeah, exactly. And I think it's even than that. I think at the end of the day, we just want to be loved, and we just so desperate. I'll speak for myself. Desperate to be loved. Desperate to
Yeah.
be loved for who I am. Because one more exclamation point, and that is that, like, I'm the type of person when I was first married, it's like if I met you, I'd be like, Sydney, you're so adorable. Oh my gosh, you're smile. And the guys, my husband and kids back there going, oh my God, could she stop? She's so
Mm.
fake. She's so
Mm.
fake. No,
Mm.
never. That's more me. That's more
Yeah.
us. It's who we
Yeah.
are. But we're afraid to be that because everybody says, go back to being serious, go back to
Yeah. Yeah, putting the
keeping your
suit on, I think is what you
yeah,
said.
your suit on.
Right. Yeah, and I think you bring such a good point of your authenticity. Not only is there so much like freedom and just pure joy from expressing yourself as you truly are, but then you open up the door for people to love you for who you truly are versus people loving the armored up fake version of you that you think people will love.
Exactly, and that's why I'm doing Paisley the Musical because, it's
Mhm.
that same thing, she really tries to, can you imagine of having a dream and then all you have to do is pin stuff up? That's
Yeah.
that's your job.
Yeah. So how do people take their power back if they've been giving it away, people pleasing, wanting to use their self-esteem to feel good about themselves? How do you reclaim your power?
The first thing was a shock to me, really a shock. And then this is gonna sound so random, but it really is powerful. Nobody can take our power away from us.
Mm,
We're the ones that give it up. Number one. Number two is that I don't believe that we get stuck because of fear. I truly believe that we get stuck because we gave our power away. And
mm,
why do we give our power away? Because usually it's on some level, it's because we want to be loved.
yeah.
We want to be connected. We're fun and we want that so bad. We want that feeling. And when we have that feeling, oh, we feel so good. So some of us, especially empaths, especially sensitives, I'm sure that when you're working with somebody in any kind of a mental capacity where, they're falling apart, it's
Mhm.
like some of those people over there are some of the sweetest, most empathetic, most loving people that are going, I don't know what went wrong. I was just trying to be nice. Why are they so mean to me? Oh my gosh, let me go ahead and just like fall into a place where you can never find me again because I can't take
Mhm.
it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And such a powerful message that no one is taking our power away from us, that we are volunteering it up because we just want to feel loved so bad. Like that is such a statement. I mean, wow. Wow.
And I think now, what's the remedy to that? Well, first to know it,
Yeah.
then to have it's a process. I don't think you can go like this. If you've already thought so much that self-esteem, you're not good enough, you're not worth anything. If you have all that, anything that I say, there might be a glimmer, there might be something there. Now, if you go to the musical, you'll feel it because you'll
Mhm.
see the whole story. You'll see a storyline
Mhm.
beginning, middle, and end. But on the other hand, I can say that you can take your power back. You can start to say no when you mean no, yes when you
Mhm.
mean yes, and know that self-love. That when you love yourself, you're impenetrable. You really
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
But to get there, I'm still working on it. I have so
Mhm.
much baggage that there's still a lot that I'm working on. But
Mhm.
man, you know, maybe 5 years ago, if we had this conversation, you'd find a person who looked bitter, who looked like
Mm.
they couldn't smile, who looked like they were holding on for dear life, and so we can never assume that, I do wanna say this. Wow, I'm so glad that this spurred that on. A lot of people said to me, "You have such a dark cloud around you." Have
Mm.
such which gave me a sense of shame and not wanting to show up anywhere.
Yeah, I'd like
Like
want to hide.
almost embarrassment. And now people say, "Oh my gosh, you have so much light. And you know what? Neither is true in a way.
Mm. Yeah.
Neither is true in a way. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
still me. Was it a dark cloud? Was it light? I don't know. I'm still me. I'm still the same person. One was struggling and in trouble, and one has hope and possibilities, but they're the same person.
And both can be true at the same time. Like you can hold this painful experience and the joy. And that's just like the beauty of nuance and the human experience is it's never just the one thing. It's I always come back to the disco ball, but like it's all of the pieces that make up who you are. Yeah.
I know you're going to be doing a musical about a disco ball. I'm waiting.
I did just like rewatch all of the Mamma Mias, so I'm feeling very inspired. Okay, Deborah, this has been incredible conversation. I mean, I feel like I got full body goosebumps like 6 or 7 times. I feel like people are going to take so much value out of this episode. Is there anything before I start my checkout questions that is on your heart that you want to share or say before we kind of start to wrap up?
You're radiant.
Thank you. And again, I'm thinking of what you just said of like sometimes I have the light around me and sometimes I got the dark cloud. So just so important to know that like we can hold both and many things all at once. But thank you for seeing the light.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. It's how people see you. It's their filter, not yours.
Yeah, I always think like you can see things in other people because you have them in yourself. So it's like you can see that in me because you have it in yourself too. Okay, so these are questions that I typically ask all of my guest episodes, and I think you'll find it interesting that you are the first like person who I didn't already know that is a guest on my podcast. Everyone else has been like friends I know, people. So I mean, this has been a really, really positive experience. So I just can't thank you enough for reaching out and the fact that we were able to have this conversation because I not only do I know a lot of people are going to take away from it, but like I feel changed after this, which is incredible. So
thank you. What a gift. Thank you.
So first question is, what is something that people often get wrong about you?
They think I'm fake.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
That's who I sincerely am. Get used to it.
All right. And what is something that you wish you could tell your younger self?
Be yourself. That sensitive, sweet girl that it took you a lifetime to get back to. Be that. Don't try to posture or be something to get the love and then, just have to have all these 2x4s, come into your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. And if you could make a law that everybody has to follow, what would it be and why?
The law would absolutely positively know your worth. Like, absolutely know your worth. Like, they should have a worth station. That would be the law. Law would be that day you have to go through the station, like, how you go through what is that thing that in New York? The subway. You have to go through the ticket thing, but instead of going through the ticket thing, somebody's gonna look at you and go, "Do you know how much you're worth? You are amazing." And then off.
Okay, what a world would that be? Like, how do we make that happen? That
Let's
sounds
do it.
incredible. Yeah. Yeah. We'll pitch it to I don't even know how we would start with that, but I mean, what a great reminder. And then I'm thinking like if we're following, oh, like you could almost get in trouble if you forget your worthiness. It's like, nope, you need to go to like the station where we remind you. It's like class, like detention almost, but positive.
You have to eat. You know what? I'm sorry, but you really didn't do good on the self-worth. Now, you need to go eat like an ice cream cone, have a little massage.
Yeah, jump on a trampoline. Like just yeah. Oh my gosh, that would be so cool. And what is the best mental health advice that you have to give?
We're taught to solve problems.
Mm.
And the more that we try to solve the problems, sometimes the worse we get.
Mm.
Sometimes, as bad as things are, if you can pull back, remove yourself to that and realize that, like, for instance, let me just go back to the heart versus the brain. Let's say you're a heart-centered person and you're living up here trying to solve, and you're wondering why your life isn't going well. Look at where you're living.
Yeah. So going from problem solving to it seems more like acceptance and focusing on the heart. Yeah.
Heart.
Yeah.
Heart. Allow yourself to feel. The biggest lesson that I've learned as a grandma, and and I never knew this. Like this is kind of humbling to say. I always thought that you're not supposed to feel feelings. I didn't realize that you're supposed to feel a feeling fully and that that's the way to go through it. I always pushed it down. And that's probably why I had some of the health situations I've had.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's so much healing that can come from just sitting in, even if the emotion's uncomfortable and it makes you want to run, it's teaching you something. I think of them as like messengers. And so being able to sit with the temporary discomfort versus trying to solve the problem and like think your way out of it. That's like not how humans with emotions, that's not how we figure it out.
Right. But nobody tells us that.
No.
That should be, feels 101.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I've always thought like it's so important to teach people how to feel their feelings that like a big dream of mine for a long time was to like go to schools, like elementary school, middle school, high school and do like a how to feel your feelings or like how to cope, like some type of like mental health crash course because I'm like I had to like flail to figure out how to be decently like to survive basically. And I wish that it was things that were commonly taught in education or our families or anywhere. I mean, anywhere. Yeah.
And if you make
Okay.
it fun,
Yeah.
if you make it fun, so take that disco ball
Hmm.
and come up with a whole thing for kids about self-worth and the disco ball and let
Yeah.
them dance their little hearts out and you watch what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. The last thing is, plug yourself. Where can people find you? How can we support you? Go ahead.
Would absolutely love it if you go to Paisley's with an S, fashionforest.com. And there you
Hmm.
can see about the musical that I'm creating. But one other thing about this is I'm looking for actors, singers, dancers, investors, producers, anybody that feels like, maybe they're like me and they don't have the years on Broadway or whatever it is, but they have the passion and they
Yeah.
think that they can bring something to the table. There's a place right in the beginning where they can fill out some information. I'll definitely get back to them. And just come along for the ride because it should be very interesting.
Yeah. Awesome. And I'll make sure to link that in the episode so that people can easily click
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, Deborah, it was so nice chatting with you and meeting with you. Cannot thank you more for your time and your energy and for sharing this space together.
And I thank you for all the amazing things that you're doing in the world and going right where it counts, where a person feels broken and just giving them some kind of hope to move forward. It's the highest calling there is.
All right. Well, thank you so much and take care. And I'll talk to you next time.